you can almost imagine that Christianity was a form, for example, a form of formalized mysticism.
Okay.
And
Can you talk more about that, Rocco? Formalized
yeah,
mysticism?
sure. Because at the end of the day, what you're hoping to be is in communion with the Creator,
Hmm.
but they're gonna redeem some aspect of you so that your soul can be lifted up and you can make the grade somehow. That's the project. And then, Hinduism is another strong project as well. And that project has many sub projects, but one of them is a path of practice, which is, again, the aim is to make contact with your own best or highest or purest self, the Atman,
Hmm.
or the path of devotion where you look at the whole of Godhead through the lens of something which speaks to you most personally. That could be Hanuman as an archetype or as a god. Now, there's two ways of looking at that. You can either take it very literally, which a lot of Hindus do, or you can take it in a kind of as a metaphorical allegory, and you can see that all that you're doing is you're connecting with an aspect of the all through the lens of that icon, that Godhead. Now, that's a project that's been shared in many traditions. And basically, if you look at what they did in ancient Greece, that's a great example. The gods in ancient Greece, we worship them more as if they were the ones that controlled the order of things in the world. But it wasn't that one god wanted to topple the other one. They each had their own jobs to do in the organization, right? And so we respected that multiplicity.
Hmm. And that is a concept actually Hinduism also borrows a lot of in traditional,
100%. In fact,
right?
it might actually be the other way around, knowing that
Hmm.
everything has Proto Indo European roots, is that
Hmm.
some of that one assumes actually it came
Hmm.
probably more from India than
Hmm.
the other way around. Yeah.
Okay. But also, I like what you mentioned there because actually, if you look at traditional Indian epics, you would see parts of characters that are displayed there. There are actually parts of those characters who are trying to topple the gods. It may not be the gods trying to topple each other, but there are certain asuras or certain demons who are trying to topple the gods.
That's
And
right. But
hmm,
that more had to do with Chetan, the establishment of order,
hmm,
which all religions had,
hmm,
and then the toppling or the challenge of that order. So it was really a battle between order and chaos,
hmm, hmm, hmm.
which in some instances we called good and evil.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those were the words that were coming up for me too. Yeah,
Correct.
good and evil.
But
Yeah.
the main thing that I'm trying to point to is that those religions had intermediaries like a kind of priest who will do they're in between you and the God, or somebody's
Hmm.
telling you the rules that you have to follow, but you're living your daily life.
Uh-huh.
But the aim is still to integrate with the will of the gods in such a way that you can align your life with the will of the gods. So even though it wasn't the path of the mother, let's call that the path um, of the father, the solar father, where we were trying to follow what the gods wanted, and that's how we lived a virtuous life, and that's how we would thought we would get to the end of something under the graces of the gods. It's still a question. Let's just remind the listeners here. It's still a question of no one's analyzed it this way, but I'd like us to do that today. The thing that you have is
Hmm.
really your will and how you want to invest it and spend it.
Hmm.
Now, the Buddhist project, which we call the Path of Surrender, is about using the will that you have to slowly and incrementally liberate yourself from this illusion of self so
Hmm.
that you can surrender this idea of selfhood completely and thereby achieve liberation in yourself.
Hmm. Eh,
The idea of
hmm.
Hinduism is to achieve moksha or
Hmm.
liberation that way, but that's
Hmm.
just to liberate yourself from the illusion of the Maya, but you still connect with your pure Godhead's selfhood, right? The projects of Christianity and all of that had to do with there was no concept of reincarnation. The fact that you had many iterations or tries to do this. The whole project is how you live your life now determines your sorting in the afterlife, whether you're considered good or bad, or you are closer to the gods, or you live in some form of dream or paradise, or you live in some form of purgatory or hell. So the project for them was almost, how do I act out this leg of the journey so that my eternal leg can be one of grace or one of damnation or punishment? Or
Okay,
that's
okay.
where those two projects are separate,
Mm,
but
mm,
they both have a sameness in them, that they are, it's what you're going to do with your will and how you're going to align your will with a higher will
mm,
or a greater
mm,
will.
mm,
Now,
mm,
I'm trying to put those kind of religions off to one side, and I'm
mm,
trying to look at what we think of as spiritual projects in today's context.
mm,
We think of the Buddhist project as one of those things,
mm,
and we think of the alignment of maybe not nature worship, but aligning with the will of the cosmos, the mother,
mm,
the that which grants the generosity or the abundance or the graces of life, etc. We want to get in alignment with that.
mm, mm,
But often those projects don't involve building yourself, actualizing in a profound way. In fact,
mm.
actualizing in the modern context is seen as something which is materialistic and
Absolutely.
against the spiritual project. Yeah?
Exactly. Yes, yes,
Mm.
exactly. And that is where actually today morning when we were discussing this, my idea was that when I was revisiting our videos, especially our fourth video where you had talked about the middle path, I could actually relate to it a lot from the perspective of from the persona of an everyday guy who would watch this and say that this is what I'm trying to do anyway. I'm trying to
Yeah.
actualize, myself. I'm trying to actualize what I want to achieve, what I want to become or be in this world. I do not want to let go of everything that is there to be about me, right?
Mm.
And that was actually my question for you. So, do you think that the middle path, the third path that you described, is something that resonates a lot more in the modern age with modern people? And if that is the case, what are the different ifs and buts you would still want to
Yeah.
prescribe to people before they start to misappropriate
Sure.
your path for what they're already
Mm.
doing, right?
Sure.
Mm,
So